Hi friends, I welcome you all to today's session in which we are going to discuss some of the important MCQs for the upcoming APFC and EO 2023 examination. So accountancy के MCQs आपके साथ discuss कर रहे हैं. We have discussed lots of MCQs and अभी काफी MCQs आपके साथ और discuss करने हैं. And trust me, अगर आप अभी तक थोड़ा सा comfortable feel कर रहे हैं accountancy में, you are also going to feel comfortable and you are going to beat your competitors in the examination as well. तो वेरी क्विकली लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस फटाफट सीरीज. आज के सेशन को स्टार्ट करते हैं. So friends, in the EPFO EO 2021 examination, 116 selections were from EduTap and we are again ready for the upcoming APFC and EO examination. And are you guys ready for the same? Do let me know in the comment section. So before proceeding, let us take a quick look at the homework question. तो होमवर्क क्वेश्चन आपको जो मिला था उसके अंदर आपको बेसिक अकाउंटिंग इक्वेशन अप्लाई करना था. यू वर रिक्वायर्ड टू फाइंड द आउटसाइड लायबिलिटी. So basic accounting equation is assets is equal to liabilities plus the net worth. So in this particular case, we were given the assets and net worth. We were required to find the liability. So what was required? It was required that assets minus net worth or capital was to be done. तो आई थिंक आप सभी ने इसे इजीली सॉल्व कर लिया होगा. एसेट्स 1,80,000 और नेटवर्थ 50,000 की थी. तो आपका जो आंसर है दैट वुड हैव कम आउट टू 1,30,000. सो ऑप्शन नंबर ए is going to be the correct answer. Now guys, let's start our discussion with today's MCQs, and the question number 1 for today: unsold merchandise of business on a particular day is called. So my dear friends, any business is going to procure lots and lots of stock, lots and lots of inventory to sell them to the customers. If you have seen the गड़ा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, आपने अगर गड़ा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स जो जेठालाल गड़ा दुकान चलाते हैं उनको देखा है तो आपने देखा होगा कि उसमें कितने उन्होंने टीवी, एलसीडी, फ्रिज और वॉशिंग मशीन और मोबाइल फोन रखे होते हैं. तो लॉट ऑफ स्टॉक हैज बीन केप्ट इन द बिजनेस ताकि जब कस्टमर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट हो तो उस रिक्वायरमेंट को बिजनेस मीटअप कर सके. Now all this inventory will not be sold in a particular day. Some unsold inventory, some unsold stock is going to be there. So this is what is referred to as, technically this is referred to as your closing stock or inventory. Okay, this is your unsold stock or inventory. Okay, so of the options, the best suited option for this question is going to be option number B. तो एक बहुत ही बेसिक क्वेश्चन था. आई थिंक आप में से किसी को इस सवाल में दिक्कत नहीं होगी. दिस वाज अ वार्म अप क्वेश्चन. अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चंस. चलिए, नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज आइडियल करंट रेशियो इज. सो फ्रेंड्स, आपके साथ करंट रेशियो के बारे में डिस्कस किया था लास्ट सेशन में भी. तो करंट रेशियो का फॉर्मूला आपको बताया था कि दिस फॉर्मूला इज करंट एसेट्स डिवाइडेड बाय योर करंट लायबिलिटीज. ओके, so I told you कि your current assets should be sufficient to meet up your current liabilities. Now ideally it is said कि ideally our current assets should be twice the current liabilities. Okay, current assets should be twice the current liabilities. So ideally the ratio has to be 2:1. So this is something that you guys have to remember. तो options में से यहाँ पे हमारे पास the correct option is going to be option number D, a very important fact that you have to remember for the upcoming examination. So this is what you have to remember. 2:1 is the ideal current ratio. Next question, an example of cash flow from investing activities. So guys, अभी तक हमने आपके साथ डिस्कस किया कि जो कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट होती है, it shows us the cash flow from different activities. Okay, we have operating activity, we have investing activity, and we have the financing activities as well. Now ऑपरेटिंग एक्टिविटीज कोर ऑपरेशन से जुड़ी होती हैं. इन्वेस्टिंग एक्टिविटीज द फिक्स्ड एसेट्स जो आप परचेज कर रहे हैं उनको सेल कर रहे हैं, और अगर आपने कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट करी हुई उस पर कोई इनकम आपको मिल रही है. एंड फाइनेंसिंग एक्टिविटीज दे आर रिलेटेड टू प्रोक्योरमेंट ऑफ द फाइनेंस फ्रॉम इक्विटी, फ्रॉम डेट और पेमेंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट और डिविडेंड. ओके, नाउ द ऑप्शंस आर cash sales. So cash sales is going to be our operating activity. Issue of shares, this is going to be a financing activity. Payment of cash for purchase of machinery. So if you are purchasing a machinery, you are procuring a capital asset, a fixed asset, you are investing this much amount in a fixed asset for your business, and this is going to be referred to as an investing activity. And payment of dividend is a financing activity. So very simply we were able to make out कि आपका कौन सा activity किस cash flow के अंदर आने वाला है. So I believe easily आपने आंसर मार्क कर लिया होगा. ऑप्शन नंबर सी, पेमेंट ऑफ कैश फॉर परचेज ऑफ मशीनरी इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ कैश आउटफ्लो फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टिंग एक्टिविटी. Now let's move on to the next question. Return inward is the term used for. Options are sales return, purchase return, credit purchase, or credit sales. Okay, now let's suppose you have sold, and let's suppose जेठालाल गड़ा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के अंदर बैठे हैं, and he has sold this mobile phone. उन्होंने एक मोबाइल फोन किसी कस्टमर को बेचा है, और ये जो मोबाइल फोन इन्होंने कस्टमर को बेचा, दिस मोबाइल फोन इट टर्न्ड आउट टू बी डिफेक्टिव, कस्टमर को पसंद नहीं आया, इट वाज अ डिफेक्टिव पीस, और कस्टमर ने जेठालाल जी को ये मोबाइल फोन वापस कर दिया. Okay, now the goods which have been sold by Mr. Jethalal are being returned to him, are being returned to Mr. Jethalal. Okay, for Jethalal this is going to be a return, this is going to be a return of the sale, and this is going to be referred to as a sales return. And the goods, they are coming to the Jethalal, the goods which were initially sold, they are now coming back to Jethalal. So this is also referred to as return inward. Goods are coming inward, goods are coming inward. Okay, return inward, and this is going to be another name which is used for sales return. So the correct answer to this particular question is going to be option number A, sales return. Okay, sales return. Return outward is referred to as purchase return, and return inward is referred to as sales return. So you should not get confused with these terms. So that's why I have picked this particular question. So guys, answer is option number A, sales return. Now moving on to the next question. Which of the following is not a solvency ratio? Okay, in accounting, for the purpose of analysis and interpretation of our financial statements, we compute different kinds of ratios. And broadly, these are divided into four main categories. First, we have the liquidity ratio. The current ratio that we talked about is a liquidity ratio. Next, we have our activity ratios. Activity ratios, they basically tell us how efficiently we are using our assets or other stuff to generate revenue or cash in the business. And the third one is profitability ratio. So these are like gross profit ratio, net profit ratio. So these are profitability ratio. And then we have the solvency ratio. It talks about the long-term solvency position of the enterprise, and we compare the long-term sources of finance, the proportion of different long-term sources of finance in our capital structure, to get to know how solvent we are on a long-term basis, how solvent we are. Okay, we are basically concerned with our capital structure, कि हमारे business में जो capital है, how much is debt, how much is equity. Okay, the total assets of the business, how much of these they are financed from debt and how much of these they are financed from equity. So this is what we are trying to find out in solvency ratio. If the debt is going to be on a higher side, it may be a problem. We may become insolvent as well if the debt is very, very high and we are not able to pay back the debt. So these ratios are referred to as solvency ratios. Now the options are debt equity ratio. Definitely it is a solvency ratio. Proprietary ratio. This proprietary ratio talks about the relationship between our equity and the total assets, and this is again a solvency ratio. Total asset to debt ratio. Again, total assets are being compared with our debt. It becomes a solvency ratio. Gross profit ratio is a profitability ratio. It compares your gross profit to the net sales that you have generated. It is not going to be a solvency ratio. So correct answer, I believe आपने already यहाँ पे पहचान लिया है. The correct answer, option number D. So guys, as discussed, gross profit ratio is not a solvency ratio but a profitability ratio. And my dear friends, if you are enjoying the today's session, you are learning some new things, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel as well. So now let's move on to the next question. The basis for recording transactions is, okay, so all the transactions which are recorded in the books of accounts, they are recorded on the basis of some documentary evidence. So let's suppose कि गड़ा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स के अंदर जो जेठालाल बैठे हुए हैं, so he has bought some new stock of mobile phones, and this stock of mobile phones, जो स्टॉक आएगा मोबाइल फोन्स का, उसके साथ एक बिल भी आएगा, उसके साथ एक इनवॉइस भी आएगा, जिसके बेसिस पे जो जेठालाल के अकाउंटेंट है वो उनकी बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में इस स्टॉक के परचेज को रिकॉर्ड कर देंगे. सो ऑल द ट्रांजैक्शंस मस्ट हैव सम डॉक्यूमेंट्री एविडेंस. जब भी आप किसी को पेमेंट कर रहे हैं, यू आर बाइंग समथिंग ऑनलाइन, आपका इनवॉइस, आपका बिल, इट इज ऑटोमेटिकली जनरेटेड. Okay, so all the transactions, they are recorded on the basis of some documentary evidence. This is what you have to remember. Options are vouchers, profit, order form, or quotation list. So now the voucher is another name for the documentary evidence that we are talking about. This voucher may be an invoice, it may be a cash memo, it can be a debit note or a credit note. Okay, so the correct answer has to be option number A, vouchers. So all recording of books of accounts is done on the basis of vouchers. So correct answer is going to be option number A. Now let's talk about the next question, and this question is balancing of account means. Okay, so you are aware about the accounting cycle, and this accounting cycle, it starts with your journal in which you are basically recording the transactions in a chronological manner. Then these transactions, they are posted to ledger accounts, okay, respective ledger accounts, and from these ledger, the balances, they are taken to the trial balance. Okay, now this ledger balance, every ledger account would have a balance. Now how do you find out this ledger balance? So this is what this question is asking. Suppose हमारे पास एक कैश अकाउंट है, तो इस कैश अकाउंट के अंदर कुछ ट्रांजेक्शंस हुई होंगी ड्यूरिंग द ईयर. We may have received cash or we may have paid cash during the year. So every receipt of cash is being shown on the debit side. Cash हमारे पास एक एसेट है, और एसेट जब इंक्रीज होता है तो वो डेबिट होता है. तो every receipt of cash is going to be on a debit side, and every payment of cash is going to be on the opposite or the credit side. So for example, during the year, we received cash worth rupees 2 lakh and we paid cash worth rupees 1,50,000. So now if we have to find out the balance of the cash that we have to balance this particular cash account. How would we do it? We would find the difference between the two sides, the difference of the two sides. For the first side is 2 lakh and the another one is 1,50,000. The difference becomes 50,000. So 50,000 is going to be the closing cash balance. This is going to be the closing cash balance. Okay. So balancing of account means the difference in the total of debit and credit. So correct answer has to be option number C. So I believe आपको समझ में आया कि अकाउंट की बैलेंसिंग जब करते हैं, we find out the difference between the total of debit side and credit side. That's why the correct answer is option number C. Now let's move on to the next question, and this question is wages paid for installation of machinery is debited to which one of the accounts? Okay. Now if you have got a machinery, आप new machinery लेकर आए, suppose you have bought a new air conditioner, और आपने एयर कंडीशनर जो खरीदा है, लेट्स सपोज वो 29,000 का खरीदा है. ओके, एंड नाउ यू हैव टू गेट दिस एयर कंडीशनर इंस्टॉल्ड. यू गेट अ कारपेंटर, यू गेट एन इंस्टॉलेशन गाय, and this installation guy is charging rupees 1,000 for the purpose of installation. Okay, so these are the wages that you are paying for the installation of the air conditioner or the machinery. Now the question is asking to which account these wages should be debited. Okay, options are wages account, machinery account, installation account, or profit and loss account. So first thing that you have to very clearly understand that these wages, they are being paid in respect of the machinery. Okay, and this machinery, this air conditioner, once installed is going to give us benefit for a very long duration. It is a capital expenditure that we are doing, and this is a fixed asset that we are creating. तो यहाँ पे जो आप amount पे कर रहे हैं installation of machinery के लिए, this amount should be added to the original amount of the air conditioner, and the total rupees 30,000 it should be debited to the machinery or the air conditioner account. अगर आप logically सोचेंगे, तो आपका दोस्त अगर आपसे पूछता है कि एसी कितने का पड़ा, तो आप उसे बोलेंगे कि मेरे को एसी जो पड़ा 29,000 का लिया और 1,000 इंस्टॉलेशन के लग गए, तो मुझे ये एसी पड़ा 30,000 का. ओके, तो आपको एसी एक्चुअली में 30,000 का ही पड़ा है. So this 1,000 wages that you have to pay for installation is basically going to be accounted for in the machinery account itself. You are not going to debit wages account or installation account. You are going to transfer this 1,000 as well to the machinery account. तो correct answer इस question का बनने वाला है option number B. So this is something that you have to remember. तो आई होप आपको क्लियर हो गया कि इंस्टॉलेशन ऑफ मशीनरी के लिए जो वेजेस पे कर रहे हैं, इट इज अ कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर एंड इज पेड वंस इन द लाइफ ऑफ द एसेट, सो इट शुड बी कैपिटलाइज्ड टू द एसेट अकाउंट इटसेल्फ. नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, एंड दिस क्वेश्चन इज लिक्विड एसेट्स डू नॉट इंक्लूड. ओके, सो अभी तक हमने करंट रेशियो, करंट एसेट्स ये सब पढ़ा, बट नाउ दिस क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग व्हाट आर लिक्विड एसेट्स. ओके, लिक्विड एसेट्स में क्या नहीं आता है, तो आपको क्लियर होना चाहिए कि हाउ आर करंट एसेट्स एंड हाउ आर लिक्विड एसेट्स डिफरेंट. करंट एसेट्स हमने अभी तक सीख लिया, समझ लिया कि इट इंक्लूड्स ऑल दोज एसेट्स जिसको हम कैश में कन्वर्ट कर लेंगे विद इन अ पीरियड ऑफ 1 ईयर. तो एक साल के अंदर अंदर इनको लिक्विडेट करके कैश में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, दे बिकम करंट एसेट्स. बट व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट लिक्विड एसेट्स, तो हम और ज्यादा स्ट्रिक्ट हो जाते हैं. we are talking about those assets which can be more easily converted into cash. Okay, as compared to current assets, liquid assets can be converted more easily into cash. So current assets की बात करें तो इसमें हमारे पास बहुत सारे एसेट आते हैं. Your cash, your bank is part of it. Your stock, your inventory is part of it. Okay, your debtors or receivables, they are part of it, and lots of other stuff is going to be part of it. But when we are talking about liquid assets, we have to be careful कि कौन सा करंट एसेट लिक्विड एसेट की कैटेगरी में आएगा एंड कौन सा नहीं आएगा. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी केयरफुल. ओके, so if we talk about the different sorts of current assets, then cash and bank, they are readily convertible into cash. But if we talk about our stock, the stock that we are having, we cannot readily convert it into cash. We have to wait for a customer to come, we have to sell the goods to the customer, and we have to wait for cash to be received from the customer. So this stock cannot be very easily converted into cash. So this is not very liquid as such. जब हम लिक्विड एसेट्स की बात करेंगे उसमें कैश बैंक तो इंक्लूड करेंगे, डेटर्स विल आल्सो बी इंक्लूडेड, बट दिस स्टॉक विल नॉट बी इंक्लूडेड. ये स्टॉक को हम यहाँ पे इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे. तो ऑप्शंस हमारे पास है बिल रिसीवेबल, डेटर्स, इन्वेंट्री और बैंक बैलेंस. सो आई बिलीव आपने अब आंसर को इजीली आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया होगा कि आपके बिल रिसीवेबल, डेटर और बैंक बैलेंस तो आप इंक्लूड कर लेंगे लिक्विड एसेट्स में, बट दिस स्टॉक इज नॉट वेरी वेरी लिक्विड. तो करंट एसेट तो है बट इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी अ लिक्विड एसेट. सो करेक्ट आंसर हैज टू बी ऑप्शन नंबर सी. सो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, यू हैव टू रिमेंबर कि जो हमारे लिक्विड एसेट्स होते हैं उसमें करंट एसेट्स के कंपैरिजन में वी हैव टू थिंग्स जो कि नहीं आती हैं इसके अंदर. तो करंट एसेट्स को अगर आप देखें उसमें से दो चीजें आपको निकालनी है. एक तो जैसे अभी डिस्कस किया, स्टॉक को निकाल देंगे. इसके अलावा प्रीपेड एक्सपेंसेस, इफ यू हैव पेड सम एक्सपेंस इन एडवांस, आपने एडवांस में कोई एक्सपेंस पे कर दिया, तो यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट दैट एक्सपेंस कन्वर्टेड इनटू कैश. अगर आपने किसी को कोई पेमेंट कर दी तो आसानी से आपको वो कैश वापस देगा नहीं है. So prepaid expenses, they cannot be again converted into cash, so that's why it is excluded from the definition of liquid assets, and these liquid assets are also known by the name of quick assets as well. Okay, liquid assets को quick assets भी कहा जाता है. So this is something that you have to remember. It's very very important from examination perspective. Correct answer is option number C, inventory. तो my dear friends, यहाँ पे हमारे पास next question है. The dash of a business firm is measured by its ability to satisfy its short-term obligations as they become due. Options are activity, liquidity, debt और profitability. Okay, तो हमें यहाँ पे पूछा जा रहा है कि आपके जो बिजनेस है उसकी एबिलिटी कि वो शॉर्ट टर्म ऑब्लिगेशंस जो भी आ रही है, बेसिकली जो आपकी करंट लायबिलिटीज है उनको पे कर सकती है, उसे किस नाम से रेफर करेंगे. अगर आपने हमारे आज के सेशन को अच्छे से सुना है, यू हैव अंडरस्टूड ऑल दी कंसेप्ट्स, तो आपको ये चीज समझ में आ जाएगी. ऑप्शंस हैं एक्टिविटी, लिक्विडिटी, डेट और प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. आपको आंसर बताने कमेंट सेक्शन में. वी आर गोइंग टू वेट फॉर दीज कमेंट्स. And my dear friends, if you are preparing for upcoming UPSC, EPFC and EO 2023 examination, then we have different courses that you can check out. You can check out the master pack or you can check out the test series, and the aim of all these courses is your success. And if you want to know more about these courses, you can call us at this number or you can mail at hello@edutab.co.in. So this is it for today. Thank you and happy learning.